There we go. We got some nice towers off to the east. Things are getting a little bit more vertical. I'm not really sure it looks like rain, but interesting sky. That's the sea breeze right there. See if we can get some time lapse of some of this. Hope you had a good 4th of July. I'm putting this together at 1:43 a.m. Had kind of a late evening here, and I do want to get the video out, so we'll put this together. Starting at 9 a.m. this morning, there's the sea breeze down to the south, lurking right along the coast. North of that, some cumulus developing, a little bit of debris cloud up here, and there's a few new puffs of towering cumulus in Oklahoma. So we'll run this forward and see what's going on. See that sea breeze lifting northward right there, developing some showers with the richer moisture that I pointed out yesterday on the precipitable water. New thunderstorms here near Texarkana, New Boston to north of Shreveport, and those put out an outflow boundary. You see that there? That's like when you open a refrigerator door and you get that burst of cold air come down to the floor, and you can feel that with your toes. That's what that is. It's kind of like a little burst of cold air that hits the surface and spreads out, and there you can see it. It even puts out a couple new showers right there. Let me draw that out right here on my handy paintable graphic, and you can see the outflow boundary kind of like a bubble, just like that. And out behind it there's a drier air away from the thunderstorm where there's hardly any low clouds. Same story where the sea breeze pushes northward. Behind that sea breeze down to the south near College Station, Huntsville, and Conroe, you can see there's dry area in between, relatively cloud-free air. North of that, cumulus building, somewhat unstable. New thunderstorms get going in Oklahoma, and even those put out a cold pool. See that right there? Little area of clearing. And out to the west, New Mexico showing a lot of anvils developing. That's the summer monsoon. It is really getting going in full force in the Rocky Mountain region. That's from all the moisture in the Gulf of Mexico. That is kind of like pushing westward, getting into the Rockies, and that's what we have, kind of a seasonal pattern where the moisture gets further and further into the Rockies. Some comes up from the Gulf of Mexico into Arizona, and gradually the Rockies fills in by August and September with a lot of thunderstorm activity. So we'll go forward to our soundings here. I know this is a little bit advanced, but I want to show you a little bit of this at a time so you kind of get an idea of what tools us meteorologists use. This is the sounding for South Texas. From the surface up to about 2,000 or 3,000 feet, we got some good moisture here. The green represents moisture. And as we go higher aloft, up to 10,000, 20,000 feet, the green line pushes to the left. That indicates that there's drier air aloft. So not quite tropical like we would expect this time of year. Same situation in Fort Worth. The moisture is even weaker in the lowest 5,000, 6,000 feet and dry air aloft. When we have dry air aloft, that means less thunderstorm activity, but the potential for stronger outflow. And that's indeed what we're seeing today. Surface chart for Texas shows pretty consistent southerly flow coming up from the Gulf, kind of like this if you draw out the winds. That front that we had in Oklahoma, it has moved on off to the north, and it's kind of hard to even see it at this point. If we look at the temperatures, 84, 73, 72, it kind of cools off, so that's probably some of the outflow there. But I'm not exactly sure where that front is, but for the most part, it looks like we do have an outflow boundary kind of in this area, dividing the cooler temperatures to the east, low 70s, from air that's about 80, 75 to 80 out in west Texas and central Texas. So here I have a new product. This is the 0-hour forecast for 0Z, 5th of July. So this is actually produced at 6 p.m. on the 4th of July. 1,000 through 500 millibars, hectopascal millibars, same thing. And this gives us a pretty good idea where the fronts are. If I look for the area of tightest thickness packing, which is these dashed lines, and draw a front south of there, that gives us an idea where the fronts are. If I do that strictly by the book, kind of like that, that's one possible analysis, but chances are that's actually the dry line. I don't know for sure what's going on here, but probably this time of year what I would draw is something more like this. Kind of keep it in the troughs there. This is definitely the air behind a cold front. If I draw the lines for a cold front, I'm going to have something like that. Cold front coming out of not Minnesota. That's Montana right there. So pushing south out of Canada into Montana and the Dakotas. That'll probably get to the Central Plains later in the week. As far as where the warm front is, I'll just probably draw that like right here, using the thickness lines as a guide. So that's a little new handy dandy product there. We'll cover that later as we get into winter. You don't have to worry about that too much right now. So this brings us into our forecast using the 30,000 foot or 300 millibar chart. This is what I think is a good key for summertime forecasting here in Texas. Saturday shows, which is today, shows a jet stream, segment of a jet stream over Kansas. We get a little bit of northwesterly flow here, pushing southwestward, giving us a little bit of enhancement to the thunderstorms in Oklahoma and in the Texarkana area. Not a whole lot of enhancement elsewhere in Texas. And you see that ridge right there? High pressure. This means clear sky, subsidence, and downward vertical motion. And take note of the height line. This is kind of like the pressure line up at 30,000 feet. If that moves eastward, then we get a tendency towards clear skies and warmer weather. So right now you can see it's from Childress to about Victoria. Moving ahead to Monday, wow, that line kicks eastward pretty good. So we're going to see a little bit of moderation to the pattern, probably a little bit of warm up and less precipitation. High moves into the Big Bend area, ridge extending across most of northwest Texas. So we'll see the precipitation pattern kind of shutting down. Still some strong upper level flow along the Gulf Coast, so that'll keep storms going. Probably, maybe not storms, maybe a few showers there along the Gulf Coast. Kind of enhancing the sea breeze, and then by Wednesday, pretty good ridge across Texas into the Mississippi River Valley. Stronger flow starting to develop from the west, from the Four Corners area out to Oklahoma and Missouri. And look at this. See this coloring? This is stronger upper level flow coming into California and an upper level low there. They really need this because they've been in a very serious drought here. So this is good news for California. Then by, oops, didn't mean to do that. So for Friday, we've got the ridge still over much of Texas. Look at this strong upper level flow coming into the southwest U.S. This is kind of unusual for this time of year. This will bring a chance of thunderstorms, showers, and that kind of thing to the southwest U.S. Very good news. As far as whether this is going to get into Texas, I'm not exactly sure. Normally when we have a ridge, see that right there, where the lines kind of push northward, when we have a ridge out to the east and a trough to the west, any jet stream activity will tend to move northeastward. So I'm not really sure if that's going to make it all the way to Texas and may pick up the chances of rain across northern Texas next weekend, but we'll keep an eye on that and we'll see where that goes. That's the Texas weather forecast. Thanks for watching.
Holy fuck.
I know. That was loud.